October 3rd, 2025, a day that will be remembered in music and legal history. Sean "Diddy" Combs, one of the most powerful names in hip-hop, fashion, and business, has officially been sentenced to 50 months in federal prison. For years, he was untouchable. A mogul, an icon, a man who built empires. But today, his empire looks very different. This is the story of Diddy's fall, how a music giant found himself standing before a judge, and what it means for the culture moving forward. Let's rewind. Diddy wasn't just a rapper or producer, he was a global brand. Bad Boy Records, Ciroc Vodka, Sean John Fashion, Revolt TV, his influence stretched far beyond music. But behind the glitz and glamour, whispers and lawsuits had followed him for years. Stories of freak-offs, mistreatment, and abuse floated around, often dismissed as rumors. In September 2024, those whispers became reality when federal authorities arrested Diddy. The charges: racketeering, sex trafficking, conspiracy, transporting individuals for prostitution. The headlines shocked the world. How could one of hip-hop's wealthiest and most powerful men fall so hard, so fast? The case was complicated. Prosecutors presented disturbing testimonies and evidence. Victims came forward, describing events that painted a very dark picture of the mogul. But here's where it gets tricky. While some of the most serious charges, like racketeering and sex trafficking, were eventually dismissed or resulted in acquittal, the court still found Diddy guilty on 2 counts: transporting individuals for prostitution. On October 3rd, 2025, after months of legal back and forth, the judge made the final ruling. Diddy would serve 50 months in federal prison, just over 4 years. He would also pay a $500,000 fine and face 5 years of supervised release after serving his term. Since he had already spent about a year in detention since his September 2024 arrest, that time will count toward his sentence. The courtroom was tense. Witnesses described tears, gasps, even silence when the sentence was read. For some, it felt like justice. For others, it felt like a tragic downfall of a man who once symbolized Black excellence and ambition. Reactions poured in almost instantly. Some of Diddy's closest family members and children begged the judge for mercy, pleading for leniency. Diddy himself broke down in tears, apologizing, acknowledging mistakes, and promising to seek redemption. Outside the courtroom, the industry was divided. Some said this was long overdue, a reckoning for years of unchecked power. Others claimed the system wanted to destroy a successful Black mogul. Celebrities and former collaborators also weighed in. Aubrey O'Day, who once worked under Diddy in Danity Kane, issued a warning to young artists. Don't trade your soul for fame. Protect yourself, trust your instincts, and walk away when something feels wrong. Her words struck a chord with fans who grew up watching Making the Band. This case isn't just about Diddy. It's about power, fame, and accountability. For decades, stories of abuse within the entertainment industry were swept under the rug, hidden by money, influence, and silence. But now, we live in a different era. An era where victims are heard, where even the biggest stars can't run forever. The judge himself addressed this during sentencing, telling the victims, "We heard you." That moment carried weight. It wasn't just about punishing Diddy. It was about acknowledging those whose voices had been silenced for too long. So what happens now? For hip-hop, this is yet another reminder that idols can fall. The music won't change. Diddy's legacy as a producer and cultural force remains etched in history. But his personal legacy? That will forever be scarred. For young artists, his story may serve as both a warning and a lesson. Power without accountability collapses. And no matter how high you rise, your actions follow you. So here we are, Sean "Diddy" Combs, once celebrated as the face of hustle and ambition, now faces years behind bars. From Madison Square Garden performances to a federal prison cell, the contrast couldn't be starker. What do you think? Is this justice served, or a story of a fallen icon who still has chapters left to write? This is Nick Naila, and you've been watching the breakdown of Diddy's sentencing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more stories behind the headlines.